Margaret Lewin and welcome to Margaret Lewin Quilting. Today we're going to do something that I don't think I've ever done with you guys before, but I'm going to make a top. This is a pattern by Indigo Junction, and the pattern number is IJ1110, and it's the gathered back tunic. I need to have a top to where I'm actually doing a quilt show this weekend. I'm in desperate need of some new clothes, and I have a quilt show to do this weekend, so I really need new clothes. I need something that's comfortable but yet looks nice for the show. So this is, I've already cut my pattern all out. This is the fabric that I'm using. I think I'm gonna do good with the lines. I don't think it's gonna accentuate the shape of my body, only because they're all diagonal. There's no straight lines on it. So this is the fabric that I'm using, and it's only got 4 pieces. So I think it's gonna be a fast and easy, and I hope you stick around and watch how I make my tunic. So the very first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna mark my dart so that I know exactly where it is that I need to make the dart. And I've got just a simple dressmaker's wheel, and it's got the little points on it. And then a piece of, I'll show you it. It's actually Singer's dressmaking tracing paper, dressmaker's tracing paper. And it comes with a variety of different colors, and it's great. I use it whenever it is that I'm making clothing. It's a nice way to, nice easy way to mark it. You want to use a contrasting color of some sort, contrasting piece of paper. And I just open it up. I fold back in between the wrong sides. I don't mark it on the right side. I'm going to mark it on the wrong side. I just slide it in and then make sure that I'm all the way in so that I get the end of, it's not sliding in as easily as it normally does, so that I make sure that I've got the end. And what I do is I start at the point and I just go over it a couple times, just kind of, you know, I'm just pressing back and forth, going over it all the way. And because the rest of my pattern is still completely pinned, I don't have to worry too much about it shifting. So I'll just do both sides real quick. It only takes a minute. So that's it. I've marked the dart. And when I flip it over, oh, I hope you can see it. I don't know that you're going to. You know what? I'm going to go over it again with a red paper, and then I think you'll be able to see it. Another way you can do this is by just making what's called tailor tacks, which you do that with a needle and thread. But that takes so much longer. It used to be, or that's actually how I learned to do it. This stuff is not as easy to find as it used to be. And this is a, we're gonna try the red and see if that works. The red is a color that I've used quite a bit. I used it when I made a winter coat for myself one year. Yeah, now you'll be able to see it. The red worked. Fold my paper back up and tuck that away. And now I'm going to flip this so that you can hopefully see it. So see, there's a little red line right here, little dots. Now those are my actual darts. So now that I've got those done, I'm going to take out all my pins, and I'm going to sew my darts first. Now, when I sew my darts, I actually will sew from this point in. I'm not going to sew from here out. And the reason being is because it's very difficult to catch right here at the end so that it lays flat. So I'm going to sew from the inside out. and I will show you how I go about doing that. So I'm gonna open this up and I'm gonna take my pins and I'm just gonna, hopefully you can see me, I'm just gonna put a pinhole in one prick and then in my line and then again in my other line, and see what happens. By doing that, I create my first nice little piece of my dart. Then I'll take my pin, just move it a little bit farther down. I stick it in, and then I line it up with the other side. And now there's another one. I just grab a pin and again stick it in. And I'm gonna do that till I get all the way down to the point, which is right here. All right, and just keep doing it. I'll just put it in, double check and make sure that I'm lined up on the other side, and then I will pin it. And I just do this all the way. There's my first dart. I'll get my other one and then I'm gonna show you how I go about sewing it. I have sewn my dart. I haven't pressed it yet. I've just sewn it. Here you can see is the point of the dart, and I have left extra thread, and I'm just gonna tie a square knot. I don't know if this is necessary. This is just how I was taught to do it. You sewed right off the end, and then you tie a square knot. And then I will clip my thread. So I'm gonna do that on both of my darts. There I go. Now I'm gonna clip it off, and I'll do it on my other one. And like I said, I'm not really certain if this is something that you have to do. I've never seen the instructions tell me to do it. It's just something that when my mother taught me to sew, she told me that that was what I needed to do with my dart. So that's what I do. So just tie a quick and easy square knot. And then I'm just gonna clip it off. Now the next thing I'm going to do is I am going to go over to my pressing table, and I am going to press this in. I believe how I'm gonna press it is I'm gonna press the dart up. My front piece is all done. Move the pins out of your way. The next thing I need to do is I need to mark right here where my gathering line is gonna be. So I'm gonna take out my paper again, and I'm just gonna slide it. Well, I'm gonna have to move this pin. And I'm just gonna slide it between the two pieces of fabric. So I'm marking again on the wrong side of the fabric. I'm just sliding it in here, making sure that I keep my pieces as flat as possible. I'm gonna have to slide this down a little bit so that I can mark well. All right, and now I'm just gonna mark right here along my line so that I know exactly where my gathering is going to be. And that's it. I'm gonna, on this one, just do another line up and down at the very end just to help me see. And again, hopefully you can see the little red dots. All right, so now I take my pins out and I'm going to put my tissue paper, that's my pattern. I'm gonna move that out of the way. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to flip this over and I will pin it, sewing right sides together. And if there are any notches, I've got a notch right here, I'll match that one up. And there's a notch down here, I'll match that one up. And I'll be back when I've got these two pieces sewn together. The back of this pattern calls for this section here to be gathered. But because I've got such a geometric print here, I really want to just make a pleat. So here's a picture of the back of it with the gathering. And this is what mine's gonna, let me see if I can get it straight for you. This is what mine will look like, is something like this, okay? So what I'm going to do is turn it over to this side, and I have it all pinned. I'm gonna switch the angle of that pin. And I'm going to top stitch, or just straight stitch here, and then I'll come back, and what that will do is give me a nice secure little placket there, okay? The other thing that I'm going to do before I do it is I am going to take it over to the pressing table and just mess with it and make certain that I'm good and straight. And you can see right here, I've lined it right up with my seam. So I'm gonna sew that and then I'll show you what it looks like. All right, so you can, I hope, see that I have sewn the back, and I now have just a nice little pleat there. And I flip it over to the other side, you can see that I've got enough fabric. Whoops, you can see that I've got enough fabric to protect my piece. So now I'm going back to my directions to see what I have to do next. All right, so I have sewn, I'm gonna show you the inside. I've sewn my side seams together, and I also sewed my shoulder seams together, and I used my strip stick to press them open. If you want to see what a strip stick is, I'll link a video right up here so that I'll put a card up there so that you can see. The next thing I did was I took my piece of, what is this? This is called the neckline bias. I took my piece, the neckline bias, and I ran it through my Clover bias tape maker. This is the 12 millimeter or 1/2 inch, and that seemed to fit well, so I used that one to make it. And now what I'm doing is just taking my bias tape that I made, and I am just very carefully pinning it around the rounded neckline. Now, because your neckline is rounded, you really have to use a bias cut of fabric. So make certain that when you lay your pattern out that this piece is definitely a bias piece. Otherwise, you're not going to be able to get it to curve around the neck the way you're supposed to. So once I've done this, then I have to attach it, and then I'm gonna top stitch it. And I will show you those steps before I actually, or once I've got them done, I'll show them to you. So here we go. I've sewn my handmade bias tape all the way around the neck, but I wanted to show you something. When I got to the back, you can see I have a lot more tape than what I was supposed to have. And in the directions it says that if you have more, how to make the adjustments. But this is how I'm gonna do it. So I took my bias and I sewed it all the way to the end. Make sure you can see this. Took it, sewed it all the way to the end. Now I'm gonna fold my bias over like fold it out straight. So this is what it would look like, right? I'm gonna do that on both sides. I'm gonna match these right up so that I'm straight on both sides, and I'm going to pin it right here. All right. Next thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna sew this seam right on off, and then I'll back stitch here, and then I'll come back and show you why I'm doing that. So I have sewn it all the way up on both sides. I'm now gonna just clip this off based on where the inside seam is. And now, see, when I go to turn my facing, I've got to press this out, but now when I go to turn my facing, I'm just going to do it just like this. So now what will happen is it will still lay really flat, and it is the size that it needs to be. I have pressed the neck bias tape, and now what I'm doing is I am just going around it, and I am very carefully rolling it over and pinching it so that it lays pretty flat. So what I'm doing is just, you know, finger pressing a little bit, and then I take and I put a pin in to hold it in place. And the only thing that I'm really trying to make sure of is that this part doesn't show over onto the front of, well, onto any part of the top. So I'll do that all the way around, and then once I've done that, I'm gonna top stitch it. And I've decided, as I'm sitting here looking at this, I'm gonna go even more funky, and I'm gonna top stitch it in this bright orange thread. I think it matches the orange in it, and I think it'll look really cool. So that's what I'm gonna do. And I will be back when I've done that, because our last step is to put our sleeves in. I have set my sleeves in, and you can see I have a lot of pins in there. But what's important is that you match your notches up, and that you match your seam up. And then your gathering is pretty minimal. It's just a nice, light, easy gathering. So I'm gonna sew both of my sleeves together, turn it right side out. I'm gonna try it on for the first time, and then I will go about hemming it. I'm now working on the hem, and to do the hem, what I did was I rolled it over. The directions I think call for 1/4 of an inch maybe, and then a 1/2 inch. Well, I did it a 1/2, and now I'm about to top stitch it and do it another 1/2. So only because I had the extra fabric, it's plenty long enough. So there's that. I'm gonna do the same thing to the sleeves, and then my top's gonna be all done. All right, so here is my tunic. Here's the back seam that I pleated instead of having it gathered. And here's the front of it. It's really comfortable. I can really move in it well, so it seems to fit me great through here. I do, and I'll come closer so you can see it. I do have a problem because my shoulders are way down here, but that's because as I've gotten older, I've gotten a much larger chest area than what I had when I was younger, and I have really a pretty small frame, but I'm quite a bit bigger than what I should be. But anyhow, this is what I look like, and this is what my shirt looks like. So if you're going to the Webster, New York Quilt Show this weekend, stop by and say hi to me, because either Saturday or Sunday, I will be in this outfit. So it's really, really comfortable. It's very comfortable. I think the next time I make it, what I'm gonna do, because I will be making it again, is I'm gonna bring the scoop, I'm gonna leave the bottom part of the scoop alone, but I think I'm going to actually bring it in a little bit so that my shoulders sit more, probably like this, only because I think my sleeves should be a little bit shorter than what they are, but it's because my shoulders are not where they belong. But at this stage, I'm not changing it. I need to wear it this weekend. I think the other thing I'm gonna do next time I make it is I'll take more time with the seams, and I'll probably serge the inside or zigzag them so that they're not raw seams. I'll do more of a finished look, but this time I just wanted to get it tested out. Normally I'll do what's called a muslin, And what that is I'll take just some really inexpensive fabric and I will make it up by just basting it together so that I then can take it apart and make my pattern from that. And I may still do it only because now that I've got it together, I'm thinking I might like some pockets about right here. And other than really the shoulders, the fit is great. Tucker, come here. Come say hi to everybody. Come here. Here comes Tucker. You're gonna get your first look at my Tuck Tuck. Here's Tuck Tuck. Yeah, you a good boy today. Yeah. We have construction going on outside and Tuck just really would rather be outside, but he keeps begging for attention versus letting the workers finish the wall. They're building a retaining wall for me outside of the studio. So again, thanks so much for joining me today, and I hope you're having a great day. Bye. So here's my top all done. This morning I did do a few alterations. I had shown you the sleeves and how they came down. Well, when I put it on today, I couldn't stand it. So I quickly took the sleeves off and I took, believe it or not, an inch in on both sides. And I had to make some adjustments here. But I made the adjustments so that they fit my body, and now it is all done and I am thrilled with the way it looks. So now I have a new outfit for the quilt show this weekend. Now, if only I had a couple extra, maybe 3 hours, I could make another one, but I don't have it. So here's my shirt and I am thrilled with it. I will put a link below to where you can get the pattern if you'd like to get the pattern. Thanks so much for watching, and I hope you're having a great day. Bye.